I'm Bryan Borzykowski. As Scott mentioned, the founder of ALLCAPS Content. We create content for all sorts of companies, content and communication plans and strategies. And I'm a longtime business journalist. And so I've always felt that journalists know how to create content best, which is why I started my own agency, ALLCAPS, a couple of years ago, because a lot of these places are started by marketing people, and there's a lot of account managers. And the content creators often come into the process at the very end when they need to be there from the beginning. So that's why I started this, so we can have content creators and marketers there from the start, so your content can be created in the best way possible right from the beginning. So I could talk about this topic for days, but I only have 10 minutes. For some reason, they only gave me 10 minutes. But so I'm going to talk about how to write the right content. I also, you maybe call it how to think like a journalist. I have 5 steps I'm going to go through, and then we can talk a little bit more about sort of the mechanics of creating content. But the first step to creating good content is, what is the story you want to tell, and why do you want to tell it? When I was an editor at magazines and at newspapers, I would always tell the journalist pitching me that, what is the why? Why is this important? Why should people care? You need to think about that too. It's hard sometimes for marketers because you think everything is important about your business, but not all of it is. So what do you want? What do your clients really need to know? And why is it relevant today? People want to read things that matter to them, or see things. I mean, it's not just articles, podcasts, videos. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to create content now. So ask yourself the why. Is this important? Why is it relevant today? Number 2 is be authentic. This is something that a lot of people have trouble with because they're used to creating pitches, marketing pitches, product placements. Content needs to be authentic, just in the same way that you would read something in the Globe and Mail or the New York Times. It has to be that kind of storytelling. If it's full of product placements or marketing speak, people will immediately tune out. I mean, yes, it seems obvious, but again, it's hard. I mean, you want to get things in there when really you should be taking them out. Why would you then create content if your products aren't in there? Because you're giving people information that they find important. Help them, give them advice, make them think. They're coming to you for a reason, so give them something to think about. But they know that they're coming to you. So even if you're not saying, we have this amazing product, they're on your site or they're finding you elsewhere, they know that you're delivering the content, and they will make that connection between your brand and that information. You want them to feel good about it. You want them to say, you know, this is really interesting. I'm going to look and find out more about this company. The other point, number 3, is to think holistically. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make all the time is that they do one-off pieces of content. They just create an article that they might want to, you know, then put in the Winnipeg Free Press or the Globe and Mail or on their website, and they think they've done content. They're happy. They, you know, dust off their hands and walk away and say, I'm a content creator. That's not how it works. Content is about more than just articles as well. It's about a consistent, long-term approach to talking to your customers and to your clients and potential clients. And so you have to think about it in multiple ways. Now, people want to be, people consume media in many different situations and in many different ways today. So think articles, podcasts, videos, white papers, events. I mean, all of this is content. How do your clients or people you want to reach consume media? You need to think about that. And then you need to figure out a strategy, a content strategy about how you're going to reach them. Again, it has to be beyond one story. Think about ways that you can double up on content. So if you have a video, can you then turn that audio of the video into a podcast? Can you take that video and turn it into an article? Maybe the expert says something, and then you can create something that says, you know, 10 ways to do X. Maybe you can turn a white paper into 4 different articles. Double up on that, because what I find that people create something, they leave it for a month, they call somebody else and they say, hey, I need a video. We have this article we did 4 weeks ago. Now we have a video we want to do. And then they're paying twice. So why do that? Try and work with somebody who can do it all so that you can then double up on this. It saves you money. It increases your content outputs, and you can hit people in all sorts of different ways. So again, long-term is an investment. It's slow, but it takes time to build up that expertise, that thought leadership, the stories, and people will come once that volume is there. Number 4, think about distribution. Now, this is really, really important that everybody forgets about. Everyone. Creating content for the sake of creating content is not fun. It's not fun for you. It's expensive. It's not fun for the content creators. They want people to read the stuff or see the stuff that they create. So if you create something and you don't have a distribution plan, what is the point? What's a distribution plan? Think about newsletters. Think about social media ads. Maybe there's traditional advertising, depending on how big this campaign is and where this content fits in. So you need to get this out there. One of the best things to do is clients. Clients are a built-in audience. They're expecting to get content from you. They're already opening your emails. They already have a relationship. So start there. If you have 1,000 clients, create a newsletter and promote this content in that newsletter. Newsletter is its own kind of content, but you have to think about how you're going to get this out. So that's important and needs to be done from the start, not after the content's created, or it's a lot harder to figure out what to do. And you might, after all the work of creating content, you might be exhausted and say, this will get out the way it is. But you need to think about this from the start. The last point, or the 5th point, and there's many more points, but number 5 is make sure it's high quality. There are many, many companies with huge budgets that create really bad content. And it's not just about the words, it's about the graphics, the interplay of the text and the visuals that people do not sort of connect. That why is often missing. Why am I reading this? Your clients are media consumers. They're used to reading the New York Times, the Globe and Mail, the Winnipeg Free Press. They're used to listening to podcasts and videos. They're watching TV. They're watching Netflix. They understand high quality, even if they maybe can't articulate it. So they know when something bad comes, they'll turn it away. They won't flip it open. They won't go onto the website. It does take some investment, but you need to make sure that it's actually going to be read. So my point there is that it has to be as high quality as the things that they're used to reading. Just because you're a company who's creating content, don't think that you can create some subpar article that is, full of mistakes or not read well, or again, too marketing, too promotional. People will tune out quickly because they're savvy media consumers, savvier than ever before. So think carefully about that. Just a couple more points here. So those are sort of the top 5 things that I think that are very important to consider. But content works. So why does content work? It builds brand loyalty. It gets your message across without having to invest in a big marketing campaign, but it also can inform marketing initiatives. I've created a number of brand narratives, and a brand narrative is basically your company story for a particular product, for your whole company, and it's written in a story. I write them in the same ways that I write an article, and you can take that and use that to inform marketing campaigns, other pieces of content, communications with clients. So content can inform other things as well. I've worked with some companies where they've taken some of my articles, they sent those out as public relations pitches, and they've gotten press from this. So they haven't just created a press release, they've actually sent journalists content that they could read and then pull things out of, that they could then not rewrite, but have some idea as to what kind of questions to ask, where the story is going. So you can use it for all sorts of things. Content can also influence behaviors. You can get people to do certain things. And once we did some content for Rogers Wireless, working on a magazine for them, and they wanted people to call into their call center less for very small things. So we made infographics on how-tos, how to turn off your phone, those kind of basic things. They noticed that people stopped calling in less because they were getting content that actually informed them and changed some of those behaviors. When it comes to actually creating that content, there are just some key points here. And it's the same for whether it's an article, whether it's a video, a podcast, or anything like that. Tell a good story. If the story is most important. So it's not just saying, I'm interviewing your boss and saying, let's talk about this. What is the reason? There has to tell a story. It's got to be clear and concise. It has to get to the point quickly, which I'm hoping I'm doing here. But it has to be short and informative. And again, I just sort of say back, what are you used to reading? What media are you used to consuming? think about that, how that gets across, and then apply it to your own content. But content does work, and or otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. So thank you so much for having me. I wish we had more time, but I'm around for any questions here or in our breakout sessions, or you can send me an email at brian@allcapscontent.com, and I'm happy to respond and give some more advice.